and for sure, it makes sense. If your team takes things slower, plays for team fights, that is where the AD carry is going to thrive. And that makes the draft very interesting as well, because there's sort of two main ideas, I think, coming in to the play-in siege in terms of the meta. First one is going to be your wombo combo. Jarvan, Orianna priority is skyrocketing. And when you see bans in the jungle like Lee Sin and like Poppy, that really makes you think first or second rotation Jarvan, and then locking in the Orianna if you can.
I love that that's the way we're approaching Worlds this year. It takes me back, man. Jarvan Orianna, that's like classic combo. Jarvan Rumble as well. It's like, it's old school wombo combo. It takes me back to like Pharrell and Lord 4K Elo shockwaves, you know?
Oh,
like,
that's way back in the day.
Way back.
Yeah, you're really leaning into the 31 years old thing. I like it.
Look, it is what it is. I've accepted the reality of my situation.
Maybe you can go pro, just like Appleman. I absolutely love it.
You wouldn't say that if you saw my solo queue games.
Oh, well.
Jack's taken off the board as well as we look towards the solo lanes. And the Rel Flex, which has been pretty consistently banned so far.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm seeing the Jax ban. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially if Appleman does want to go, tankier route in the top side, so we just can't get split into Oblivion. Maokai is also going to come in initially for Detonation Focus Me. So it remains to be seen whether or not DFM, sort of with their prep coming into the series, want to match in the team fight. Maokai not necessarily known for like insane early game ganks, but I do think once you unlock the ultimate, if you do have range, there's a lot of options you can do, whether or not you walk towards a lane that's been chunked out, can set up a dive, or just use that ultimate to push players off the tower and set up for some early plays.
We'll see. The Maokai locked in as well. You could see something like a Jace coming out potentially for Arya, although we've not seen that much just yet. And yeah, we talked about the combo already. Rumble Jarvan, the spicy hot pot, as it were. But in fact, gonna take that Jace that we just talked about away, denying that Maokai combo.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? You want that physical damage. You have AP top laner, so physical damage mid. Other side has the magic damage jungler, so deny that does make some sense, especially because the Tristana was also banned away. Now, this does offer some questions towards the bot lane, because I think the answer to a lot of these like wombo combo, big CC comps could be more defensive bot lanes, your Zayas of the worlds, the Kaisas, the Ezreals, things that can get away. But if we see Senna, Nyla, I would be more than pleased.
That would certainly be a treat, wouldn't it, to start our day off. The Senna's locked in. Do we get the Nyla? We'll have to wait and see. On the other side as well, there's potential for something like an Ivan coming in alongside that Jace. Jace loves a tree in the jungle. Maokai, Ivan, he doesn't matter which one. Maybe even a Zyme. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but the Ivan could be an option.
Yeah, especially because when you see Senna locked in, like Senna Maokai, and then the other side is Jace Rumble, I'm seeing a lot of like range in terms of like poke options for CFO, or like just dropping the ultimate to finish off a kill. Whereas Senna, Maokai want to play team fights a little bit more control oriented, get as many autos off as you can with the Senna, take things slow, maximize the heal. So either CFO need to follow that up by getting some dives so they can break into the backline, or continue playing range. I actually think something like the Lilia could be interesting for them. Would mean they're really lacking in sort of hard frontline to tank up shots, especially like something like the Senna. So of course that Sejuani is going to come in as a really strong champion to play around both the melees and top and mid.
I feel like we're seeing the dichotomy of jungle being hovered there. You've got the Nidalee and then you've got the Sejuani, like two pretty opposite approaches to how to play the jungle. It is going to be that Sejuani Gemini playing for the engage, playing for the front line as we head towards our second round of bans. And I mean, maybe something like the Nyla could be worth banning away. It can be such an incredibly strong bot lane with the Senna.
Yeah, it almost feels like you can, like, maybe DFM are wanting to pull a free ban away, something like this. But we'll see. Sion taken off the board right now, and I'm wondering how much bot lane shenanigans can we get up to with that Senna down there? Because if we do want to play some melees, that is an option. With Aatrox already taken, that seems to be what CFO is targeting away.
Yeah, the Senna Sion, we've seen it before. It's not going to be here today, though.
You could theoretically play the Maokai Senna. All I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see on what goes with the Senna in the end. Azir going to be taken off of the board, which, Orianna, Azir, Talia, all taken off now. A lot of focus towards that mid lane. I'm curious where we'll end up. The Nico is the big mid lane pick in my mind that's still glaring at us.
100%. And whatever Arya gets, his hands on in the mid lane is going to be nasty. Like, we talk a lot about the top laner, the bot lane, all the swaps they made. Arya has been sort of like the standout player for DFM so consistently throughout the years. Has been absolutely on point. So even though there are questions in top and bot, mid lane is always a giant exclamation mark. It's going well for Arya.
It certainly is. Shun hovering a Draven right here. We see the Blitzcrank banned away from Xiaoxi. And he, like, Xiaoxi's name even looks like a Blitzcrank hook. You can see why they're banning that one away from him. The Draven locked in, though, so aggression across the board, basically, for CFO.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be gnarly, especially because you say the Senna, hey, you actually can't walk up and stack souls. Senna would love to play a chill lane against, you know, a melee support where she can just stack up that passive, get to 20, get to 40, those 20 increments. But that's going to be a lot harder, especially if we get an aggro support down next to the Draven. Something like that All-Star could work. But as far as setting up Arya for success in mid, Vi Arya is a power duo to hunt down kills, both around mid and also roaming into the river and getting inside the enemy jungle.
Yeah, I mean, it takes me back to MSI. Vi Ari instantly locked in. We saw that a lot of times. But Xiaoxi looking towards the hook champion, the Nautilus that we see oh so often will be locked in. Fantastic to set up that Draven. And it does mean that we've got kind of an interesting bot lane.
Yutapon put the work on in the top lane. I do think it is going to be the Senna Maokai coming on through from this. And it's actually a really annoying lane because of how much sustain there is. Maokai has his passive, and then Senna also can just spam away the Qs very freely inside that lane. I do presume that it will be the Maokai farming, so in case you haven't seen this in a while, that is not the carry Senna down on the bot side of the map. Instead, wants to maximize that passive potential. You can't CS more than, I think, about 2 minions a minute if you want to get those in.
They have just swapped, but I guess Yutapon will still probably play the support style Senna. I will say
it could honestly go either way. I'm partial to the Senna personally because I think getting that passive as high as possible is good. But the Maokai support is perfectly valid.
I will say this ruins everything for pick'ems. Like, people trying to figure out the best flex pick, I don't think many people were thinking Maokai for that pick. No. Now it's going to be played in support. People that are playing the same duo might switch the roles to the AD carries of the Maokai. Like, this could become like a 4-role pick if we even see Maokai in the top lane. Like, pick'ems are doomed. I
just have to say, I'm so disappointed that we're playing a Senna bot lane, and Yutapon, after spending a split in top lane, is not playing a top lane champion, right? Like, if he'd locked in the Aatrox, that was a pick he went for awesome. If he'd gone for the Maokai, any of that would have made sense. It would just put a perfect little bow on this story. But no. He's the AD carry player now. We all remember Yutapon. He has been so good over the years with this team.
Yeah, I mean, Yutapon, absolute gamer, right? Like, we talked about it back at MSI. This guy's radiant in Valorant. He's global elite in CSGO. He's the top rank in Overwatch as well. Like, every game this guy touches, he is a top player no matter what. So it doesn't surprise you that he can swap up to top, come back down to AD carry, and still make it to the World Championship. Early invade, though, here. Xiaoxi and Shun moving forwards. Not going to drop a ward just yet, though. Yutapon spotting them.
I was right. It is support Senna. Confirmed. So support item down there on the Senna. Harp does have the teleport, so it just looks like Yutapon wants to play the Marksman champion. That is perfectly valid. And well, Xiaoxi hunting around looking for a little bit of some hook action, but DFM perfectly ready for this one. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, late invade coming through from CFO. I don't know if they want to actually commit to something in terms of that invade, but it looks like no, just dropping the ward, moving back to their own blue buff. So we will have a fairly standard start, and it looks like both junglers will be pathing up towards the top lane.
And in case you want to check out some cool tech, everyone, I'd encourage you to look at Yutapon right underneath the flash, and also Shun underneath the flash there. We do have stack counters. We've got it in the game. So don't be concerned. You're going to see exactly when Yutapon is getting those range increases. Those happen every 20 souls 20 missed souls are Thresh, as Dracos always reminds me. So once you get up to 20, and you get those off of the minions, of course, so Yutapon is not going to be finishing off those last hits. That improves the chance of miss dropping that he's going to be picking up right there. Also gets it by attacking an enemy champion twice. So whenever Xiaoxi walks up to auto-attack those minions, Yutapon is going to be stacking up that mist.
Yeah, just going to be trained back and forth there. But don't forget to log in and watch on lolesports.com to earn exclusive Worlds 2023 rewards. We've got drops, we've got emotes, we've got icons. There's all sorts to be getting your hands on. So make sure to check it out and watch the stream over on lolesports.com. But I'm excited to see how the junglers are going to approach each other in this game, right? We've got a Sejuani versus a Vi, both junglers that can be extremely proactive in the early game, happy to get a gank going, but also, especially Sejuani, happy to get into the enemy jungle. That early ward, giving the information that they maybe can move down there.
Yeah, so Gemini knows that Steel started on Raptors and then went topside, so it's a safe bet that that's a 4-camp clear until that before the red buff comes down. So Gemini is just 1 camp ahead on tempo to get down here. Steel is not going to make it in time. Gemini has the smite as well, so that is just going to be a stolen away red buff, and that really reduces the impact of I can have in the early game. That slow, very nice to have on the Vi, and actually Gemini is going for the Krugs as well. He held onto the smite, so that's just going to be 2 camps yoinked away. Steel has nothing to say about it.
He's not even seeing it. He might even get all the small Krugs here. He does. Gemini getting basically the entire camp. Xiaoxi moves in to make sure that it's safe, and Steel, I mean, he's living up to his name, just in the opposite direction.
Yeah, so this is a really big early game plan. You saw that, you know, Xiaoxi was donating some misstacks over to Yutapon, just getting auto-attacked on the minion wave, but that was to guarantee priority on the bot side. So Xiaoxi walks into the jungle, now he's walking into mid lane. I don't think he's going to have an angle. Those ranged creeps, a little bit annoying. Nautilus can't sneak those Qs through those, so even though Arya is under pressure with 3 enemy champions around mid, he can stand up and farm because he just plays on the north side of those minions, and there is absolutely nothing that Nautilus is going to do.
Yeah, it feels like Arya as well, very safely positioned in the lane, so he'll be okay. Gemini moving up to the top side now. Scuttle Crab already taken by Steel, but I'm looking towards that top lane matchup as well, right? Apperman bringing out the Aatrox, which, you know, this is a player from 2021. It feels like this is a pick from back then, you know, as well. We all think of the Shy and G2 when we see this pick coming through at the World Championship.
Think about that. Nope.
But, you know, during the laning phase, he's up against the Rumble. Rumble, he's a terror. He's a terror for melee top laners.
It's true, especially Rest is going for the Ignite build as well, so a ton of kill threat. That Grievous Wounds is going to be really nice as well, especially when level 6s come online for any sort of all-in around the top side of the map. So wouldn't be too surprised to see Gemini looking around that. Nice little hook and some damage, but as I was saying, you're not going to find much around that. Gemini with flash forward.
Flash, Arya could be stunned. One more auto, but they can't quite get in range. And Arya flashed on by Gemini, but he doesn't finish the kill. He's not tanking though, he gets it. No! Just on the edge of range. Gemini was holding aggro for so long, but it just wasn't quite good enough.
I respect it. Jimmy saw the angle, went for it. It was actually so unfortunate because he couldn't transform into the ranged, and Arya almost ended up surviving because of it. They get that kill in mid side, and with both mids burning their flash, that makes mid lane a giant point of contention in the next few minutes, especially because both junglers are going to be ticking up to level 6 before those flashes come online. Arya just hit it as well. So if Jimmy is ever pushing up in this mid lane, it is a whole world of hurt for that Jace. This is a nice gank from Gemini, just playing right on the opposite side of the Fog of War, and there's just not much Arya can do. It was a nice charm, but ultimately, if Jimmy's ever going to commit the flash, it's just going to be a trade for that one.
It's really unfortunate because Jimmy actually pathed back for a second. He thought he'd got it with the Q down and the W around him. He thought that would finish it off. Arya was like on sub 10 HP there. Does mean that it's a trade in the end. So Arya doing a really good job just to maintain an even situation despite Gemini spending time in the mid lane.
Both mid laners end up teleporting back as well, so nothing too much going to be lost there. Arya's about a wave up in terms of actual minions, and even though Gemini did go for the early invade, a lot of times you don't actually get a huge lead off of invading the enemy junglers. Gemini's just back in mid, but level 6 means Arya is perfectly okay. And easy little cooldown spent there. It might be a dragon opportunity for DFM, as a matter of fact. Bot lane's really pushed back from Shun, and now that Gemini sort of, used that Q in, there's no flash on either him or Jimmy, it's a little bit hard to play around mid right now.
The only issue they've got is because Arya had to use the ultimate in that previous play, does make it a little bit more awkward for Ari to try and have these skirmishes in the early game without that ult.
Oh, here we go. Xiaoxi's looking for it.
Stand aside comes through. Xiaoxi, great hook right into the middle of the mist, and Yutapon in all kinds of trouble. Slowed up, the Ignite ticking away. But Gemini starts hitting Harp instead. They're retreating, and I was so sure that was going to be a kill.
All good. Yutapon has the flash, has the barrier, can just waltz on out of that one. No problem whatsoever.
Do you know, I was told CFO are a really slow-paced team that take it easy in the early game, but they're being pretty proactive. They're trying to make plays happen, and I like that Gemini with this Sejuani is trying to use that early proactivity that Sejuani offers you.
It's also nice just you have time before Worlds. You put in some work, you come in with a very different look. It's important because otherwise, you know, you just get prepped into oblivion. Enemy teams picks hard scaling versus you, and then you get out team fought later on. So both teams taking a little bit more of an aggressive approach. And I think mid lane is going to heat up in the next minute and a half, especially Steel. When that 6 comes through, you gotta make use of the lack of flash around mid. So the best Jimmy can do to full push the wave, like we see right now, or hold it in front of his tower, he has to weather the storm in the next 60 seconds.
To be able to get out of the chain. Hex Drinker already picked up by Appleman. He knows he needs the MR for that lane. Wouldn't be surprised to see that just go straight into a Maw, honestly. We've already seen that in this tournament, like Maw finished as a first item. As we see, Shousey moved up to the top side. Gemini's there as well, as Herald has just spawned onto the map, but it looks like the DFM want to answer.
Gemini hasn't started it just yet, and actually I think Shun was a little bit confused, was walking towards mid lane like they wanted to go for a fight. He's still going bot side, and as a matter of fact, Udapon and Harp have both come up here, so this is absolutely just going to end up being a Herald. If the fight were to break out, Shun did hit level 6, so can get involved with that global ult.
Hearts here, level 6, like you say, and I mean, Gemini's just going to go down here, surely. He's totally alone. Shousey goes for a hook as well, but him and Jimmy have got to get out of here. Steel locks him up, though. And CFO, like you say, they're 80 carries at the bottom side of the map. I don't think that's a fight you should be trying to take.
Just a huge error there. No vision apart from the Scuttle Crab, so I don't think they'd actually seen that Udapon and Harp had moved up. Regardless, though, you're aware of the timing they went for that reset. So, yeah, this is great for Shun. He can push that wave down in the bot side, but as a matter of fact, Harp is going to be back there in time, so he's going to pick up that full wave down there. And CFO just donate 2 free kills to the Vi, who is now ready to just take over.
And worth mentioning as well, great positioning from Harp to punish that. He's like, look, they're going to want to be a bit cheeky. They're going to want to try and get vision and potentially poke at us. So I'm just going to step a little bit further forward than they're expecting, get a control ward down, and then obviously Maokai, he's going to lock someone up. He's going to help find the kill. And that's where the Ahri and the Vi kick in, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's where you can never escape again.
The crazy thing about DFM's comp is the reach they have. What I mean by that is like the long range ability to actually like punish you with crowd control, whether it's the Vi QR to close the gap, the Ahri, the Maokai ultimate. That is so much range. Then you also have the global ult in Udapon too. So it's very easy for DFM to set up picks exactly like this. Even if there's not an objective up, if they can position themselves inside the enemy jungle, that is going to be doom for CFO. Once these outer rings of turrets go down, mid lane stepping up to catch the wave in the middle of the map is going to be very, very concerning for the Flying Oysters, because DFM can just jump on you from miles away out of the fog.
You can see our total damage so far. Anyone that says Sejuani is just a tank, is like, you know, just there to be the engage, I think that kind of disproves it. I think that's a great example of what Sejuani really does in the early game. Like, the E passive alone just does so much damage.
Yeah, and in terms of like fighting too, just that extra second and a half of damage reduction is just so powerful off of the passive. So unfortunately, Gemini, because he used the flash around mid lane, ends up costing him. But this is what I was talking about, looking for those dives with the Maokai on the turret.
Already begun. Jimmy has the Dusk Blade, trying to use that movement speed, but look at this! That's the reach you were talking about! The long arm of the law coming through. Jimmy actually gets a kill, and he's got a stopwatch as well. Charm comes through, Gemini flashes out, Jimmy finally falls, and it becomes a 1-for-1.
I was confused for a second, because he's not playing Gwen. How is he immune? That doesn't make any sense, but between the Duskblade completion, getting that kill on Steel, and then the stopwatch on top, that was crazy that he almost ended up surviving. In fact, Gemini gets out. It's a testament to the time that Jimmy bought. It allows Gemini to also get out of there, and what was a huge investment for DFM ends up just being kind of all right. Yeah, a lot of minions lost for Jimmy, but I think CFO are going to be happy with how they were able to fight back there.
Yeah, and honestly, in the meantime, Shun just free farm in the bottom side, right? Got at least 3 waves, just solo XP there. Got to play it as well. What can you do? What on earth can you do against this?
I mean, it's a great ultimate out of Gemini. Look at that. Arya had to drop her dagger going up, so much time was lost. So much damage was lost because Arya couldn't get in the fight. That is 100% Gemini reading the play, playing just on that north side in the Fog of War. It was a huge save from CFO's jungler.
Yeah. Also, some mega damage coming out from them to be able to get the kill back across. Like, the fact that they go 1-for-1 there.
Oh, yeah.
I did not expect that kind of damage coming out from Jace this early in the game.
Yeah, I forgot to look at the bottom of the screen and see that Duskblade completion, because as soon as that is there, Jace becomes an absolute beast. You know, Jimmy's been getting pushed in mid most of the game. You know, right there, he's getting tower dove, but now he's going to really begin to hurt, especially around objectives. And when I talk about reach, you think a Rumble ult, a Draven ultimate on top of the Jace Q poke, there's some instant burst potential from CFO.
Shousey might be instantly burst here, though, as he's been caught out again. The ultimate going to be popped from Arya to guarantee that kill, and the Dark Seal is in pocket. That's 2 stacks in already.
And going to be able to gobble up the blue buff there as well. Looks like Shun maybe wants to try and fight for that blue with Gemini, but Unicorn's stuck around, so I don't think this is going to favor them. Yeah, they're just guaranteeing that they can pick up the Grump. That's what it's called. I wanted to call the Grump a Scuttle Crab for a second. I'm like, that's not what it is.
Scuttle Frog.
Scuttle Frog, yeah. What if everything was just a Scuttle Crab? That would be kind of sweet.
That's literally a version of TNT
Look, Gerald's a Scuttle Crab.
I think there's logic there. It's like a Void Corrupted Scuttle Crab. Yeah. That's my theory at very least.
Sejuani could ride a Scuttle Crab. I don't know.
Voidborn Sejuani skin? Any buyers? I don't know where I'm going with this one. Plate's taken though at the bottom side. There's Drake coming up. It's just over a minute here, and I feel like we're being treated a little bit here, Ender, because we've got both teams fairly even in gold. We've got gold on the carries as well. Arya and Jimmy and both getting kind of stacked up for these fights. When it comes towards Drakes, we both compositions have some like early proactivity to be able to make these fights happen as well.
100%. DFM have the tough choice, I think, though, of knowing when do we actually all in, right? Because you have the Vi and Arya, which can go in really deep. Can't really get out so easily, so I think what they want to do is play the fights as slow as possible, almost to make as much use of the Senna healing damage range as they can, and then once they can sort of divide the fight, if they see, you know, CFO are splitting in towards them, that's when they activate the Vi, Ahri, the Maokai, and can look to tear up. Obviously, Appamen can look for some flanks and options like that, but I don't think these fights are so easy, especially against CFO, who are teamfight, that's their power, is how they play in the 5-on-5s, and we haven't even seen Shun cash in yet. So this game is really balancing closely here.
Yeah, we're on, what, 300 stacks at this point for Shun. That's going to be a big cash in if he gets it.
He's just dominating Yutapon. Yutapon only has 45 stacks. That's crazy.
I will say, Hop's doing okay for gold. He was over 1,000 up on our MasterCard lane economy snapshot there. He's getting pretty tanky on that Maokai. Appamen might have a chance onto Jimmy in here. Knocked back, though, by the Thundering Blow. Won't find his all-in opportunity, but that Night Harvester picked up by Rest at this point is a huge spike for the Rumble. They want to fight CC someone up. They can go for a fight. He's charging forwards, trying to get the CC down. There's the equalizer, big damage, but now a flank on the backside. It's a spread fight, but Steel's the first one to go down. Now answered as Arya got into the backline, but CFO looking good so far. As they've managed to group up, they've managed to find themselves in a front to back once more. Shousey just hooks the wall and has to back away again, but Drake is down to 600 HP. Finally taken by Gemini. 6-4 on the scoreboard.
Oh, Shousey!
Carnage as it's flash for flash in the mid lane.
Alphamen's trying to reset right now. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it out. It's actually 2 of them. That's 2 free kills. Harflix for the turn.
He thought he was finding a pick, but he picked himself here, and now over the wall goes Appamen. But now reinforcements from Jimmy, and there's one, and it could be another, because Appamen, he's in no man's land. He's in the wrong territory. We've already got Shun with 1 kill on the board, and he wants to make it more as well. Appamen nowhere to go and taken down for his 2nd kill into Draven's pocket.
CFO destroying the team fight right there. It looked like a good start for DFM. You know, Appamen coming in on the flank, but Shun getting that first kill, even though he was shut down after it, was absolutely huge. Look at this, teleport coming in from behind, and the Jace is a little bit late to the fight, going for the base initially. But here, Shun just turns immediately onto Steel. There was no immediate follow-up on Shun. Arya wasn't there quickly enough, so that's a big cash-in for Shun. Yutapon obviously falls on the opposite side of the fight, and then where's your consistent DPS? It's a little bit tough without Yutapon there to sort of free hit, without cooldowns on the Ahri. And while they got close here, Gemini just flashing over the wall, dodging away from that Q3 from Appamen. That was for sure a kill. If Gemini falls, maybe they can look for a little bit more, but the low HP members of Oysters just hunt down for a couple of extra kills on the back.
Yeah. The second Gemini gets away, that play goes from like, oh, they found a pick to, oh, this is completely doomed.
Yeah.
They both go down, and it turns into a bit of tempo there. But now DFM onto the Herald as we come back to live. 2,500 gold down, and the Herald will help to mitigate that somewhat if they can get it onto one of those tier 2s. Although,
yeah, they're going to
get through the tier 1s first.
Actually, the first turret of the game taking 17 minutes, and that is an exceptionally late first turret. Oyster's taking that one, although, and maybe that ties into our prep, you know, delayed on the first turret, the slow early game, but no, Oysters have come in with two fantastic Dragon, well, the first one they just got for free off the timing, the second one, a very nice fight from them to secure.
It was Gemini, just about dodging, accidentally, I guess, because I'm not sure he was aware that was coming. But look at the items right now. Jimmy and Shun, both on 2 items, and it's Jason Draven. Like, if there are 2 champions in the game that spike hard on 2 items, these are your picks right here. And almost stacked up on the Muramana there as well from Jimmy, who's just going to finish off that tower in the top side. So I feel like the gold is in the right place in this competition for CF.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, all the damage from range, the physical damage is going to be there, and then the Rumble, the little cherry on top, is very nice for the Oysters. And honestly, just feel like they're winning on the map right now. It was a bit of a game of ping pong on the map because DFN cashed in all of their priority to take the Rift Herald. CFO get both top lane and bot lane tower off of that, as well as a little incursion into that top side jungle. And CFO are going to win overall off of that play, taking the 2 turrets as opposed to probably just the one. The Herald's going to be able to secure you.
And I've just realized, looking at that graphic that popped up between our AD carries, it's another tournament where all casters, all analysts are lamenting because AD carry stats are going to be ruined by Senna. Once again, AD carries playing the support role. As the Herald charges down in the mid lane, but it's a 5-man stack to make sure that tier 1 stays standing. CFO not losing a single tower so far this game. Might be losing some lives here. Gemini engaged on, but he's pretty tanky. And Shamsi with a great hook to start onto Harp. And have to back away, and CFO, it doesn't even feel like CFO took damage.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 fights we've seen from DFM, Arya has just not been with the team, right? With the turret dive, it was Gemini stuffing that engage. And then the last 2 fights, he just has not been in range to deal with whatever pick DFM is going for. So DFM lucky to get out there, just casting a few ultimates to try and survive. But Arya has to be more involved with the initial attempt from DFM, or they can't go in. This is what I was talking about, right? If Steel or Harp go in too early without Arya to be there, it's tough, but they're looking for the dive.
Jimmy in trouble once again. The amount of times this man has been dived this game so far, and once again, there's just nothing he can do to survive the onslaught. The point-and-click CC, followed by CC, followed by CC. It's just unstoppable.
Is it because Arya was there? Is it because it was a 3-on-1? I don't know. Either way, DFM, they're securing it. And that's really all I want to see them do, is any play they want, it needs to be Arya sort of like leading that charge for the team, working with Steel. And that charm combo has to be there on the Twisted Advance or any of the YCC.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great follow-up, but on top of that, I'm keeping my eyes on that Dark Seal that's in his pocket. It's now on 6 stacks. We're headed towards Medjai's territory here, and we all know what an Aria, what an Ari can do with a Medjai.
All right, team fight time. We got to teleport into the mid lane from Arya. He wants to get involved immediately, but Appleman is a little bit isolated from the team. They're just going to give the 3rd Drake in exchange for the mid lane tower. That was incredibly low after the Herald, but that's surprising because they got that kill on Jimmy, but couldn't actually cash in on that 5 versus 4 off the base taken from Appleman, off of them just spending too much time on the top side of the map. The timer didn't work.
It feels a bit rough as well because that's not just any old soul either. That's an Infernal Soul against Jason Rumble. Like, if they get an Infernal Soul in 5 minutes time, you're seeing 1 Shock Blast and an Equalizer landing on a Unicorn. He's gone. He's out of the game.
It's even better with like a Draven as opposed to a normal AD carry too, because like, Draven isn't building attack speed anytime soon. No. He's just stacking up damage on damage. Hit me with that % multiplier. I'm going to feel very, very happy.
Yeah, this is going to be brutal if they can get that soul. 5 minutes time, DFM will have to answer. But for now, Baron up on the board, and you can see the vision battle begins, as it always does.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, too, I feel, for Detonation focused me, it being the Infernal Rift. It's a little bit harder to set up picks on this map because of the open sight lines around red buffs. So it's hard to walk into that topside jungle, less brush as well, sort of close the gap and play inside of the fog of war. And really, CFO can just walk around together as a unit, I feel, a lot of the time, and not be too concerned about the heavy engage from DFM. At least that's how it's looked so far for the team. It's really important that DFM find ways to divide and conquer up CFO around the map, and that starts with vision inside the enemy jungle. That means taking the priority you have in mid lane, walking around, so you can see sort of Arya Steel holding hands together, walking towards the top side of the map. Will Jace step up to push this wave? No, that guy's a little bit too smart for that, so instead we farm this this minion wave while Steel just guards that, so Arya can get the reset.
So we're getting towards a sort of quieter moment in the game now, because I think rightly so, the two teams are acknowledging that actually a mistake at this point in the game could be extremely costly. Shousey looking for a hook there, but won't find Steel for himself. And our win probability powered by AWS looking pretty tasty right now for CFO, and rightly so with those 3 dragons stacked on up. In terms of gold, we're pretty close, but those dragons are worth so much more than just gold.
Yeah, it really puts a timer on things. DFM have to take the next objective fight around the Drake. Well, do they get, is their positioning on the map that poor before that? Do they get picked, you know? Can CFO just try to start up the Baron and pull DFM off of that? Like, there's so many more options when you're the one on 3 that DFM just don't, frankly, have access to. Quick check-in on stacks right now. Udapon up to 71. And because Shen cashed in that Draven not so long ago, only 142 right there, but is not too far away from that 3rd item on the Draven. And that's going to just be a whole world of hurt. There's also Morellonomicon purchased for Rest, and the Rumble pretty solid at applying that as well with all the AoEs you have in the kit, so that's really going to reduce the healing of the Senna and the Aatrox coming on in these team fights.
Yeah. And you can see already like a heavy presence towards the top side of the map here from DFM, and rightly so, because when you're running this kind of composition, you gotta play around vision, right? You gotta play around trying to find those picks. And like you keep saying, the Ahri really being the crux of that was so close to finishing a death cap there. Like, that's your way back in for DFM. Control this area and find those opportunities.
The tough thing is that's kind of the only bush they can play around for picks, the one they just cleared away the ward from. And we've already seen CFO have been diligent when clearing that out on the re-entry. They do have a Farsight alteration as well on Shun, so if they're ever in a tough position to approach that, they can spot that one out and then reclaim the territory with Shousey and Gemini just being this giant, beefy wall to absorb all the CC.
Yeah, the other thing as well is they already got a pick from that brush earlier this game. Harp hid in that brush at the Herald play to find that pick onto Shousey early on. So it's a question of like, yeah, that theoretically can work, but it's like a fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, that's an issue from CFO right there.
That's the follow-up. Honestly, and CFO have been taking things calm. You might wonder, like, what are CFO doing? Like, DFM have just been trading push and bot, reset, push top, reset, push and bot, reset. CFO don't need to do anything. They are full-on chilling right now because Infernal Soul is up in 45 seconds. That's what they want Prio on. So they have 4 players in mid lane. DFM with the Prio from Appman, though, are bringing him up. So they're going to have 5 players on this wave hitting first. With that Prio, they need to be able to get vision on the bot side, but Rest has already beat him up here on the timing.
He has 30 seconds on that Drake. 30 seconds on the timer for DFM here. They can't afford to lose this soul. And CFO have control of the river right now. Still trying to clear vision. But this is what we're talking about. DFM spent so long getting vision control of the Baron area, but they don't have control of the soul that's about to spawn.
Yeah, and if CFO just stays stacked, it's really hard for Arya to access the target she needs with the charm, which is Shun and Jimmy, and those are the players you got to be able to find. And we're actually just teleporting into mid. No flank from up. Oh, sorry, no, that's Harp coming on in there. Your Sport Maokai just TP'd in the mid lane.
3 TP team. That's going to be confusing. But yeah, Apperman getting a big push on the bottom side to find a way into this river, but Rest going to just fall in. Look at this damage coming out from Rest. There's Apperman just trying to flip. What a prediction from Jimmian. The sniper with the shock blast finds that kill and surely opens up for a soul.
That's just going to be a soul. Steel has to go for something. Can they push mid? Can they run over to the Baron? They can't get onto Baron fast enough. This Drake just got exploded completely. That is a disaster. You're playing against a carry top mid AD comp, and they just got Infernal Soul. Good luck.
And I mean, Rest has had a pretty quiet game so far, but suddenly we see the Rumble damage come out from him, just shredding through Apperman. And that's with Apperman having a ton of MR.
It's so tough right now. DFM's best idea is, hey, we can actually step up to the Raptor brush now and get vision in, but Gemini's respecting it too much, right? Like maybe DFM can get one pick off of that play, off of trading the kill and the soul, but that is just an absolute disaster. They also don't do Baron fast at all, I don't feel. It's lethality Senna, right? She doesn't have a lot of gold with the support build, so it's just an item and a half. It is going to be a long time. You gotta get off this. At least they don't take damage because of all the healing of the Senna, but there's no way you can stick on to this.
If they can commit to that call, it's desperation stations at that point, right? Like they're committing to the fact that they are a soul down and they just want to try and find something. I mean, just take another look at it. Appleman face checks in, but he just gets melted.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good play from Rest, right? Because previously, Appleman, when they were all 5 around mid lane, he'd been able to walk through the river, and he was setting up, oh, I can group with the team, maybe I have a flank option. Rest, instead of going to the minion wave like Appleman expects, is just sitting in the bush by himself. Appleman thinks he has 5 more seconds before the rest of CFO can get there, but actually, that Rumble beats the timing completely, and Steel might be in some trouble if he tries to clear these wards.
They found him. That's the jungler as well. Pulled back in. CC Chain is there, but the health bar's getting low on the other side as well. Shun has to turn golden here, and they dive on in. Harp the one to make it happen as Apperman charges into the backline as well. Harp goes down as Jimmy's arrived on the scene. It's a double, triple for him as he shreds those health bars. Apperman trying to go old school, but he's taken down as part of a quadra kill.
Jimmyan absolutely tearing him up right there. It starts with the pick from CFO, but it looks like for a second DFM can turn it. That might just be all she wrote, though. Baron and option on the table. Look, the Maokai and the Aatrox just not around with the team, and Jimmyan isn't even here, but he's instantly ready on the TP. That was like 0.5 seconds of delay. So yes, it looks good. Watch him target out Utapon. He's rooted up. He's not part of this fight. Just one-shots the Senna. Then he's like, okay, I guess I have free reign in here. There's no cooldowns to be used. Ahri is busy trying to kill that Sejuani. So this Jace is just frontlining the entire time. What a monster as he was completely ignored from the team.
Apperman's so close to getting kills there, but the double stopwatch coming through from CFO. The cherry on the cake from that fight.
Welcome back to Pro Play. Here's double stopwatch.
Yeah, hope you didn't miss this one. That's Baron now taken, and suddenly CFO, everything going their way. I mean, this game has been their bread and butter, right? Surprising level of presence in the early game, considering this is a team that honestly, most of the time, play very slow. They have the second longest average game time of anyone at Worlds, but when it comes to this point in the game, this is absolutely their comfort zone.
100%. I mean, just from how quickly Jimmy was reacting on the teleports, how fast the team was ready to go for that. You know, Steel walks in division like, we're going for this. Not just the pick, but the Rumble ult is coming down solo onto the Vi because they just knew they had it. And DFM, they're trying to bunker here outside. Oh my word, the charm lands. That's damage.
Everfrost is there. He's got a GA. It's a lot used to find this one pick. Can they commit the kill? Can they finish him off? The answer's yes. Equalizer comes down. Time for an answer. Coming out from CFO, and they've got a CC chain of their own. Gemini charging forwards. It turns into a 1-for-1 here. CFO trying to get onto the tower, but I don't think they really have the range.
Yeah, Apperman died on the bot side, so it's actually a 1-for-2. That was just completely off our screen with him falling there. Yeah, it's a plus 900 Gs for Arya, so that might end up being all right, all things considered, for DFM. But they're going to have to be able to stop this super minion push. The Baron buff minions, there's 2 cannons here, which are just going to destroy this turret. There's no chance. Yeah. No wave clear with this comp.
I would love to see what happened to Apperman in a replay there. I don't know if we'll get chance though, because honestly, CFO looking kind of scary here. Still 10 seconds on the death timers. Looks like they are going to back away. They're not going to try and brute force things just yet.
I mean, hear me out. If you saw a giant oyster flying at you, I imagine that would be out of your comfort zone. You might be a little bit shocked.
I'd be feeling clammy, that's for sure.
Bot side, Apperman tries to go on to Xiaoxi, who just tanks up, and then I guess Shun just smashes him in the face. Yeah. Gemini actually uses the ultimate onto Apperman just to make sure he couldn't turn it around onto Shun. I think there might have been some more angles had Gemini not used that ult just for the insta-CC. They could have chased down for maybe some more kills, but at the end of the day, you protect your AD carry, you get the inhib off of it. CFO are completely in control.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from CFO. And at this point, you know, the Baron power play is basically over. The Red Bull Baron power play going to be about 3,000 gold, which totals now to 6,000 gold in their favor. They've got that Infernal Soul. The one stick in the mud here for CFO is Elder Drake comes up in just under a minute's time, and in any game of League of Legends, no matter how far ahead you are, they manage to get that steal, everything can suddenly go real wrong.
I see what you did there. I really do. DFM jungler,
I'm trying my
you
best
did the funny.
not to say steal every sentence, but
He robs it. It's a heist. I like it. I'm just trying to give you ideas, because if you say he steals the dragon, I do think we have to like dock your pay in some way. That's just it's too free. It's too free.
just as free as I'll be if I say it because of the dock pay.
Other good news for DFM. I'm really reaching. So everyone, we're going way down into the bag.
100% win probability.
Udapon is good at counting, and he's up to 110. If that number gets bigger, that's better. Will it ever be enough? I don't think so, but maybe.
I mean, if the game goes long enough, Senna is literally a 1v9.
Arya's not here, you can't fight!
What a hook onto Harp there. He has to flash root it up. He has to use his ultimate as well just to deny any further follow-up, but that's not ideal. Harp now without his ultimate, without his flash, doesn't offer a lot to a fight.
Hey, Rest used the ulti too, though, so I think this trade of ulti might actually favor DFM a little bit. Problem is, they have no mid-prio, and they just sent 2 of their teleports into that bot lane. They need to start up this Drake, and they need to force the fight. There's going to be supers running into their base.
I thought Jimmy was just going to run up mid there and try and end the game. Harp taking some chunks here. Rest on the front line. Ult still on cooldown for him, but
7k.
There's still some pretty good damage going down. 7k on the Drake is still looking for the engage, but decides to get in the end. Stopwatch out from Rest as now Gemini charges into the fray. Rest gets back to the rest of his team, but now everyone diving on in Steel. He's gone too deep though, and Gemini keeping the rest of his team at bay. Steel is down. That's the smite out of the picture, and CFO surely finish off the Elder. It's a double kill coming through for Shun, and he'll turn it into 3. No, Rest denies it, but it will not matter. That's Elder, and surely game.
Just a dominant game 1 from CFO. They can run down mid, pick up that wave, the Elder on top of everything else. They just play that team fight so calmly. Like they're not even challenged whatsoever. Rest is inside in the middle of the pit, just baiting out everything, and now they're ready to deliver the final punch.
17-10 is our potentially final score. Could see a couple more kills coming through at the end here, but a fantastic start to the tournament for CFO, showing what the PCS second seed is capable of, showing us why they went to 5 games in their finals, finishing off DFM here in game number 1, and luckily for us, we get a best of 3. Luckily for us, DFM have a chance to fight back in this one, but CFO, a really confident start to their tour.
100%. It felt like everything kind of spiraled out of control after that one Drake fight, right? Where Shun gets the big cash in on the Draven. The fight wasn't even that lopsided. I think it was a 1-for-2 favoring them, but then 2 more players from DFM get caught inside the enemy wolf camp. They end up falling. Another kill goes down to Shun, and after that, just felt like the Drakes got stacked against them. DFM were never able to get control inside the enemy jungle. And that meant the fights, the picks were never going to find themselves.